Hey everybody, and welcome back. So, maybe you got a new bike for Christmas, or maybe you treated yourself to a new bike recently. So what do you do with the old bike? Do you throw it out? Do you give it away? Maybe hand it down? Sell it? You could sell it on somewhere like Pink Bike, Craigslist. But you could also repurpose that bike for yourself. And in this video, we're going to cover my repurposing of my old mountain bike and maybe some tips or tricks that you'd like to do yourself. Stay tuned. So obviously, this process is going to be much easier if you've kept up with the maintenance on your bike like you should have all these years. So you've kept up with your shock services, where sometimes, it might be better if you had a hardtail to start with because you wouldn't have to worry about servicing the rear can. Just basically maintaining the fork, which you can do yourself. This also affords you the opportunity to do a lot of work yourself and learn yourself, because the bike's not going to be mission critical for your next ride. So you can watch some videos on YouTube, you can go to your local bike shop, maybe they'll help you with a little support. You can purchase your tools from there as well to support your local bike shop, but still do the work yourself at home and save some money and maintain your bike and learn more about your bike and what it takes, and maybe possibly carry that knowledge and those skills over to your new bike. Save yourself some money there too. So what I have planned is I want to commute to work, because why not? It's a great way to start the day, a great way to end the day. And then I want to do some gravel rides. There's trails around here. We get a lot of rain. We've been getting some snow, and I can't ride the trails. The trails have been closed more than they've been open this last month, it seems. So I can still ride the gravel roads there. All the access roads through the Forest Service are still open. Plenty of people out there on gravel bikes and mountain bikes. And I'd like to do that too and save the wear and tear on my new Nomad. So this bike would be a great candidate for that. I have a lot of the older specs on here, you see, are actually what I'm looking for. You have the shorter handlebar length. This is a 6 something instead of a 7 something. There's a good 100 millimeter difference in handlebar width here compared to what they're running nowadays, like on my Nomad. So I can get between traffic or tighter areas better. I also don't need the wider bar so much when I'm running some gravel roads. And it's still a comfortable riding position. I changed the saddle out to something that's a little more comfortable for sitting and riding. Not necessarily as conducive to trail riding. It does tend to be a little bit wider than my WTB saddle is. Added a water bottle cage to it. I have an under saddle pack to it. I have a cell phone mount that I can put on it as well. It'll clamp to the handlebars. It's removable. I can quick release my cell phone on it. So I can do something like track my ride on Strava or whatever I wanted to look at in case people are messaging me or something. You can add some handlebar ends. Now I've had these on the bike since they were new. I took them off a few years ago because I had a bad spill and broke my wrist. And that's what you have to watch with the bar ends. These are what I consider the big bar end. And it gives you nice different positions for your hands. So your hand's not stuck in that one position. So if you're doing a lot of commuting and just grinding out the miles, having your hands like that for a while might get a little tiring. Whereas if you had a drop bar bike, you could put drop bars on this. But this is a little cheaper alternative perhaps, and gives you some different positions. What I had was I went over the bars in a bad wreck, and my hand on the bar, my wrist went over and broke my wrist. So something you might want to keep in mind. Now you can get new grips. Maybe your bike needs grips. So you buy a set of new grips. You can get them pretty inexpensively online. Amazon, your local bike shop, I'm sure can help you out. And they'll have some stubby bar ends on them. So instead of holding the grip, you can grab it sideways and you have that little stubby end on it. And it's nothing that's going to bother you if you were to go over the bars or anything. You can get a cycle computer. These are relatively inexpensive. You can get ones that operate wirelessly. This one clips on, and it does have a cable that comes down the fork, and the little thing clips to your wheel. Nice and easy. They're like $16 for a decent quality one. So you can't beat that. It'll have the time on it, your distance, you can log different things with them, and the sky's the limit. So also might be a good time to consider clipless. If you're thinking about it, you're not so much worried about, you know, going over the bars on a jump or a turn or whatever. You can go clipless on these. Now this bike, I ran this clipless most of its life. It wasn't until recently I went to flats. But the clipless pedals are a nice option. I still have my shoes, so I find it a little bit easier when you're logging out a lot of miles just to be clipless. They allow for a little bit of float in there. You get used to clipping in, clipping out, and you can adjust these. These are Shimano SBDs. These are like a $25 pedal, so you could do that relatively inexpensively as well. I mean, this was a few dollars online. These are a few dollars online. There's not a whole lot of money that you're going to be sinking into an old bike except for maintenance. And that's not such a bad thing. You could get fenders for it. If you're worried about mud, you're really going to commute, you can get fenders for it. They can get all manner of fenders, all different price points. So just some things to consider. Now with this, I've already outfitted it with semi-slick tires. This will probably be your biggest expense in converting a bike over to use for something else, is the tires, because they can get pricey. These are a Kenda semi-slick tire. So what that means is the middle here, if you can see it, you have very little knob. Like it's real short. There's a lot going on there texture-wise, but it's just short little tread. And then on the sides you have the bigger knobs. So when you're rolling down the road or going down a gravel road, you have relatively low rolling resistance. And then when you lean it over into the turns, these knobs can come into play and grab a little more of the terrain and give you a little better handling in case you need to, like on the gravel road, you're bombing down the gravel road or whatever. So this also has a 3x drivetrain. Who runs a 2x or 3x drivetrain much anymore? But for what I'm going to use this for, this is perfect. I'm in the mountains, so it allows me a whole lot of gear range here. I've changed out the cassette last year to an 11x34, so it's a little bigger granny gear on it. They even have one that goes up to a 40 for my 9-speed. That's something you might want to look into, see if you can change that out. It's a wearable item, so it's, you know, not too bad to change it out even, especially if repurposing the bike. So 3x, and I have my tall gear, I have my low gear, so I can really crank out the high speeds as compared to my, you know, 1x11 on my Nomad. I can hold a lot higher speeds on this, and the granny gear is there for me as well, so I can climb the hills, and then when I get up over the top of the hill, I can bomb down the backside. I've had this bike up to 35 miles an hour. I know because of my cycle computer. So that's cooking pretty good, you know. So it's all about the maintenance. It's all about how much you want to put into it and what you want to get out of it. You can pretty much, the sky's the limit. So I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, click that like icon down below. Give me a big old thumbs up on it. Let me know. Leave a comment if you'd like, some ideas, some tips, some tricks. Always open for more ideas, and so are my viewers. And if you want, hit that subscribe button, and then you can follow along my journey, all my mountain biking, and you can hit that bell icon. You'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Have fun, keep riding.